Before the skyscrapers rise, before the first beam of steel is welded into place, before the concrete is poured and the walls go up, before any of that, before any of the glory and grandeur that the world sees and admires, someone has to go down. Someone has to descend into the earth, into the darkness, into the resistance, and carve out the space where everything else will eventually stand. That someone is here. It is not a routine job or an ordinary task. What you are about to see is a battle, a raw, physical, grinding battle between a human being and the earth itself, against soil that has been packed down for decades, against rock that has sat undisturbed since long before any of us were born, against layers of the ground that do not want to move, do not want to open, and will not give way without a fight. One man, one mission, an arsenal of tools, and an absolute refusal to quit until the job is done. The ground here looks ordinary from the surface, flat, silent, unremarkable. You would walk across it without a second thought, but the man standing here knows better. He has studied it. He has assessed it. He understands that what lies beneath his boots is not simply dirt. It is a system of layers, each one more compacted, more resistant, more challenging than the last. And every single one of those layers must be broken, removed, and shaped before this project can move forward. He takes a breath. He grips his shovel, and he begins. The shovel enters the earth for the first time, and there is something almost ceremonial about that moment. The oldest tool in human history, a blade of hardened steel on a wooden handle, meeting the ground in an act that humans have performed for thousands of years. From the earliest agricultural civilizations to the great infrastructure projects of the modern world, this motion, this thrust and lift and throw, is the foundation of everything we have ever built. And yet, there is nothing romantic about the effort it demands. Every push of the blade requires the full engagement of the legs, the back, the shoulders, and the core. Every scoop of earth lifted and thrown aside is a small victory extracted from a reluctant opponent. He does not rush. That is the first thing you notice about a skilled man doing this work. He does not hack away wildly, burning energy without purpose. He reads the ground as he goes. He feels the resistance change through the handle of the shovel. He adjusts his angle, his depth, his rhythm based on what the earth is telling him. Loose here, denser there. A pocket of gravel, a vein of compacted clay running diagonally beneath the topsoil. He is not just digging, he is problem-solving in real time, with his hands and his instincts and his years of hard-won experience. Down, deeper. The first layer of loose topsoil comes away relatively easily. It is dark and rich, and it moves with a kind of reluctant cooperation, as though the earth is willing to give up this first thin layer without too much protest. But experienced workers know that this is just the opening act. The real resistance is always waiting below, and it never waits long. At roughly 30 centimeters down, everything changes. The shovel hits something different. You can hear it before you see it. That hollow, almost musical scrape of the first layer gives way to a dull, heavy thud. The blade barely penetrates. The resistance has arrived, right on schedule, exactly as he expected. The compacted subsoil layer is here, dense and stubborn, packed with clay minerals and geological pressure that has been building for years. The shovel will still be needed, but it will no longer be enough on its own. He pauses for just a moment. Not out of doubt, not out of hesitation, but out of respect. Because any man who has worked the ground knows that you do not charge blindly into hard material. You assess, you plan, you select the right tool for the job that now stands before you. He looks at the layer, he reaches for the pickaxe, and everything changes again. The pickaxe is a completely different instrument from the shovel. Where the shovel scoops and lifts, the pickaxe destroys. It concentrates all of the force behind a single swing into a narrow, hardened point, driving into resistant material with a focused impact that no flat blade could replicate. When the pick strikes that compacted subsoil for the first time, The sound that comes back is deeply satisfying in a way that is hard to explain to someone who has never done this kind of work. A sharp, decisive crack that echoes slightly off the walls of the growing excavation. That sound means progress. That sound means the earth is losing. Shaping an underground space is not the same as digging one. Digging is about removing material. Shaping is about defining space. It requires a completely different mindset, a shift from the aggressive, forward-driving energy of excavation to the careful, patient, almost artistic sensibility of finishing work. Every wall must be straight. Every corner must be clean. Every surface must be at the correct angle and elevation. Because this underground space is not just a hole in the ground. It is the foundation of something, and foundations do not forgive imprecision. He works the walls methodically, moving along each face in careful, overlapping strokes, removing thin layers of material and stepping back regularly to assess his progress. His eye is his most important tool at this stage. Experienced workers develop an extraordinary ability to judge level and plumb and square by sight alone, a calibration that comes only from years of working with these standards until they become instinctive rather than calculated. He checks his work, he adjusts, he refines. And gradually, section by section, the walls of the underground structure achieve the clean, precise geometry that the design requires. The floor receives the same careful treatment. Level is not merely a preference underground, it is a structural necessity. Water finds the lowest point of any surface, and an underground floor that is not perfectly level will collect water in ways that can cause serious damage over time. He works the floor with a combination of scraping and tamping, removing high spots and compacting low ones, checking constantly with his level and adjusting constantly with his tools. It is painstaking work. It is slow work. But it is essential work, and he knows it, and so he does not rush it. And now, deeper still, the character of the work changes again. Because what is being created here is not simply a trench or a simple excavation. What is being built down here, hidden from the surface world, invisible to anyone who does not know it exists, is a system of underground chambers and channels. Spaces that will serve specific functions, carry specific loads, direct specific flows. Each one must be shaped to precise specifications. Each one connects to the others in a sequence that has been carefully planned and must be carefully executed. The drill comes out now for sections of rock that are too hard even for the machine to break cleanly. The sound of a heavy drill biting into solid rock is one of the most intense sounds in all of construction. A screaming, grinding, penetrating note that speaks of extreme forces being concentrated into an impossibly small area. Rotate, penetrate, advance. The drill works its way through the rock in slow, methodical increments, each millimeter of progress representing a small triumph over geological resistance that has existed for far longer than any human project. When the drill finally breaks through to the other side of the section, there is a moment of release, a sudden change in sound and resistance that feels like a victory even to a distant observer. He clears the broken material. He shapes the newly exposed surfaces. He checks the dimensions against the plan that he carries, not just in his notes, but in his mind, in the spatial understanding of the project that he has built up over hours of work. He is not just following instructions at this point. He is embodying the design, translating a vision of what this underground space should be into the physical reality of carved earth and shaped stone. That translation requires intelligence and experience and care that no machine can provide. Now take a moment and truly look at this man, not at the equipment around him, not at the impressive depth of the excavation or the clean lines of the emerging structure. Look at the man himself. Look at the way he carries himself after hours of this work. The tiredness is real. The physical demand of what he has been doing is visible in every movement, in the slight heaviness of his steps, in the way his shoulders carry the accumulated weight of the day's effort. The body does not lie. It cannot pretend that this work is easy. Because it is not easy. It is one of the hardest things a human being can do with their physical self. And yet, he does not stop. He does not slow down in any meaningful way. He does not allow the tiredness to creep into his work and compromise the quality of what he is building. He wipes the sweat from his face, and he picks up the tool, and he goes back to the wall, and he does the next thing that needs to be done. Because that is what it means to be a craftsman. Not the absence of difficulty or fatigue or discomfort, but the refusal to let those things win. The decision, made again and again throughout the day, that the work matters more than the effort it costs.